Imagine a world without wheels. No cars, no bicycles, no mills. How would we move heavy objects or travel long distances? The invention of the wheel didn't just change human history, it shaped who we are today. And did you know it wasn't even created for transportation? The wheel emerged over 5,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia and was one of humanity's first great technological innovations. But its story goes far beyond what we might imagine. It didn't just make transportation easier, it propelled commerce, agriculture, and even warfare. Let's explore how this simple invention revolutionized the world. The earliest wheels weren't attached to carts or chariots, but were actually used by potters to shape clay vessels. Think about that for a moment. The technology that would eventually connect continents began as a humble tool for crafting everyday objects. It would be centuries before someone had the brilliant idea to place these circular objects beneath a platform to move goods. When civilizations in the fertile valleys between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers first mounted wheels on axles, they couldn't have imagined how this innovation would ripple through time. Suddenly, distances that once took weeks to traverse could be covered in days. Goods that were once impossible to move became manageable. Power shifted to those who mastered wheel technology. If you love history and want to unravel the mysteries of the great empires, like this video, subscribe to the Dawn of Humankind channel and don't miss a single episode. Join us as we journey through time to discover how a simple circular object became the foundation of modern civilization. Let's shatter a common misconception right away. The wheel wasn't invented for transportation. Surprising, isn't it? The circular object that revolutionized human movement actually began its journey in ancient pottery workshops around 5,000 years ago. Picture this: a craftsman in ancient Mesopotamia sitting before a spinning platform, carefully shaping clay with his hands as the circular device rotates beneath. This was the potter's wheel, the true origin of this world-changing invention. These early wheels were horizontal discs that rotated on a vertical axis, allowing artisans to create perfectly symmetrical vessels and utensils with unprecedented precision and speed. Archaeological discoveries in the region between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, modern-day Iraq, have revealed pottery wheels dating back to around 3,500 years before Christ. The Sumerians, those brilliant innovators of the ancient world, likely developed these devices to meet the growing demands of urban populations for storage containers, cooking pots, and ceremonial vessels. For centuries, the wheel remained primarily a tool for craftsmen. Imagine generations of potters spinning their wheels, completely unaware that they were using a technology that would one day transform human civilization. It wasn't until around 3,000 years before Christ that someone had the brilliant insight to turn the wheel on its side and attach it to a platform. This moment of inspiration, connecting a horizontal axle to vertical wheels, might seem obvious to us now, but it represented a conceptual leap that took human ingenuity centuries to achieve. Who was this anonymous genius? We'll never know their name, but their impact on human history rivals that of the greatest known inventors. What's truly fascinating is that this technological advancement didn't spread evenly across the world. While Mesopotamians, Egyptians, and later Europeans embraced wheeled transport, ancient civilizations in the Americas developed complex societies without ever implementing the wheel for transportation. They understood the concept. Small wheeled toys have been found in pre-Columbian graves, but geographical challenges and lack of suitable draft animals meant they never developed wheeled vehicles. So next time you see a wheel, remember its humble origins as a potter's tool. From those simple beginnings spinning clay, it rolled forward to become the foundation of human mobility and mechanization. Sometimes the greatest revolutions start with the simplest ideas. When the wheel finally made its grand entrance into the world of transportation around 4,000 years ago, it didn't just change how people moved. It completely transformed ancient societies. Imagine the astonishment of people witnessing the first wheeled carts rolling through their villages. Journeys that once consumed days of exhausting travel could suddenly be completed in mere hours. The world, in essence, became smaller. The earliest wheeled vehicles weren't exactly chariots of fire. They were simple wooden sledges fitted with solid wooden wheels, heavy, clumsy affairs that nonetheless represented a revolutionary leap forward. These early wheels weren't the spoked masterpieces we might imagine. They were solid discs cut from tree trunks, connected by a wooden axle. Despite their crude design, they immediately proved their worth. Archaeological evidence from ancient Mesopotamia shows us that by 2,500 years before Christ, wheeled transportation had become commonplace. The Sumerians, those brilliant innovators, quickly recognized the wheel's potential and developed various forms of carts and wagons. They even created specialized vehicles for different purposes: humble farmers' carts, elegant carriages for nobility, and fearsome war chariots. But the true genius came with the invention of the spoked wheel around 2,000 years before Christ. By replacing the heavy, solid disc with a lighter rim connected to the hub by spokes, ancient engineers created a wheel that was both stronger and dramatically lighter. This innovation made vehicles faster and more efficient, requiring less animal power to move the same amount of goods. The impact on trade was nothing short of revolutionary. Merchant caravans could now transport goods in quantities previously unimaginable. Imagine the bustling trade routes that sprang up across the ancient world, the famous Silk Road being just one example. Cities that controlled these routes grew wealthy and powerful. Luxury goods from distant lands became available to those who could afford them. Spices, textiles, precious metals, and exotic foods traveled hundreds of miles on wheeled carts, enriching cultures and connecting distant peoples. Consider the ancient city of Ur in Mesopotamia. Archaeological findings reveal that after the widespread adoption of wheeled transport, the city's economic reach expanded tenfold. Goods from as far as the Indus Valley and Egypt have been found in its markets. What's fascinating is how wheels created not just economic connections, but cultural ones too. Ideas, art, and even religious practices traveled alongside material goods. The wheel didn't just move products, it moved people, knowledge, and ideas. As traders traveled these newly accessible routes, they carried with them stories, technologies, and beliefs. This cross-pollination of cultures accelerated human progress in ways that would have been impossible without wheeled transportation. In a very real sense, the wheel didn't just overcome distance, it wove the first threads of our global civilization. When we think of ancient warfare, images of sword-wielding soldiers and archers might come to mind. But perhaps the most game-changing military innovation of the ancient world rolled onto battlefields around 1,800 years before Christ: the war chariot. The wheel, once a humble potter's tool, then a merchant's ally, now became a terrifying weapon of war. Picture this: a dust cloud appears on the horizon. The ground trembles with a rhythmic thunder. Suddenly, they emerge. Dozens of lightweight chariots pulled by powerful horses, each carrying an archer and a driver, moving with unprecedented speed across the battlefield. For ancient foot soldiers, this was a truly terrifying sight. The Hittites of Anatolia were among the first to perfect this deadly technology. Their two-wheeled chariots, pulled by specially bred horses, could maneuver at speeds that seemed supernatural to their enemies. These weren't just military vehicles, they were psychological weapons. The mere sound of approaching chariots could break enemy formations before a single arrow was fired. What made war chariots so revolutionary wasn't just their speed, it was how they transformed battlefield tactics. Before chariots, battles were primarily about infantry clashing head-on. With the introduction of these wheeled platforms, warfare became more dynamic and complex. Charioteers could rapidly deploy to weak points, outflank enemy positions, or retreat and regroup when necessary, maneuvers that were impossible for foot soldiers. Perhaps the most famous chariot battle in history occurred at Kadesh, in what is now Syria, around 1274 years before Christ. The Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses II faced the Hittite Empire in what historians consider the largest chariot battle ever fought. Nearly 6,000 chariots participated in this epic confrontation, the battlefield filled with swirling dust, flying arrows, and the chaos of wheels and hooves. The design of these war machines reveals the ingenious engineering of ancient armies. Egyptian chariots were lightweight, often weighing less than 60 pounds, with wheels containing 6 spokes for the perfect balance of strength and agility. Their wheels were marvels of woodworking. Ashwood rims bent through careful steam treatment, rawhide bindings for durability, and copper or bronze fittings to prevent splitting. The impact of wheeled warfare extended far beyond the battlefield. Empires that mastered chariot technology, like the Egyptians, Hittites, and later the Assyrians, gained tremendous advantages in controlling territory. These wheels of war helped create the first great empires of the ancient world, reshaping political boundaries and power structures across the Middle East and Mediterranean. So did you know that the wheel was first used for pottery before it revolutionized transportation and warfare? If you're enjoying this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the Dawn of Humankind channel for more incredible historical stories. And tell us in the comments, can you imagine a world without wheels? How different would history have unfolded without this seemingly simple invention that transformed not just how we move, but how we fought, traded, and built civilizations? While the wheel's impact on transportation and warfare captures our imagination, its quiet revolution in agriculture may have been its most profound contribution to human civilization. Long before industrial tractors roamed our fields, the wheel was already transforming how humans grew their food and sustained their communities. Imagine yourself in ancient Rome, around 100 years after Christ. As you approach a hillside settlement, you hear a rhythmic grinding sound echoing through the valley. Drawing closer, you discover an impressive water wheel powering a massive millstone. This ingenious combination, the wheel harnessing natural energy, is processing more grain in a single day than a dozen workers could manage in a week. This wasn't just efficiency, it was transformation. Water-powered flour mills appeared as early as the 1st century before Christ in the Roman world. The largest known ancient example was the Barbegal mill complex in France, a cascade of 16 water wheels that could process enough grain to feed 20,000 people daily. Think about that scale for a moment. A mechanized food production system nearly 2,000 years ago. But the wheel's agricultural revolution wasn't limited to milling. Around the 5th century after Christ, heavy plows fitted with wheels began appearing across Europe. These wheeled plows could cut deeper into soil with less human effort, turning previously unusable heavy soils into productive farmland. Northern European forests and wetlands, once considered too difficult to farm, gradually transformed into agricultural powerhouses that could support growing populations. The wheel also revolutionized irrigation. Persian engineers around 500 years before Christ developed sophisticated water-raising wheels that could lift water from rivers and streams into elevated irrigation channels. One worker operating a wheel could irrigate fields that previously required dozens of laborers carrying water in buckets. These wheels, sometimes reaching diameters of 15 feet, transformed arid regions into verdant gardens. Perhaps most fascinating was the spread of windmills across medieval Europe, beginning in the 12th century. These magnificent structures, with their massive wooden wheels turned by canvas sails, didn't just grind grain, they drained wetlands, processed materials for textiles, and powered early industrial processes. The famous windmills of Holland, with their wheel-driven Archimedes screws, reclaimed entire regions from the sea, creating new farmland where water once prevailed. The agricultural wheel's impact on society was profound. Regions that adopted these technologies could support population densities unimaginable in earlier eras. Cities grew larger as fewer farmers could feed more people. Food surpluses became more reliable, reducing the frequency of famines. Social structures evolved as new, specialized occupations emerged around the construction and maintenance of these technologies. What's remarkable is how the humble wheel, circular motion converted to productive power, freed human labor from endless toil. Each rotation of these agricultural wheels represented not just mechanical advantage, but social progress. As wheels turned in mills and fields across the ancient and medieval world, they were quietly spinning the foundations of our modern civilization. The wheel's journey through human history didn't end with carts, chariots, or even watermills. Its true legacy lies in how it became the fundamental building block for countless other inventions. Think of the wheel not just as a circle that rolls, but as the spark that ignited human ingenuity across millennia. Around 250 years before Christ, in the bustling library city of Alexandria, a brilliant mathematician named Ctesibius was experimenting with something revolutionary: gears. These toothed wheels, meshing together in precise arrangements, could transfer motion, change direction, and, most importantly, multiply force. With this innovation, the wheel evolved from a simple transportation device into the cornerstone of mechanical engineering. What's fascinating is how these early gear systems quickly spread across the ancient world. The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a shipwreck off the Greek coast and dating to around 100 years before Christ, contains dozens of precisely crafted bronze gears. This astonishing device could predict astronomical positions and eclipses with remarkable accuracy. Imagine the wonder of ancient observers as they watched this wheel-based technology track the movements of celestial bodies. By the medieval period, wheels had transformed into the intricate mechanisms inside clocks. In the 13th century, the first mechanical clocks appeared in European cathedrals, their inner workings consisting of carefully calibrated wheels and gears. These weren't just timekeepers, they were the most complex machines humans had ever created. Each tick represented not just the passage of time, but humanity's growing mastery over mechanical systems. The wheel's influence extended into everyday life in ways we might not immediately recognize. Consider the spinning wheel, which revolutionized textile production around the 11th century. This simple wheel-based device enabled one person to produce thread at least 10 times faster than previous methods. Suddenly, clothing became more affordable and accessible, changing how people dressed across social classes. Perhaps most consequential was the water wheel's evolution into more sophisticated power systems. By the 18th century, elaborate wheel-driven machinery powered the earliest factories. At the Cromford Mill in England, established in 1771, water wheels drove complex systems of shafts, gears and pulleys that powered hundreds of cotton spinning machines simultaneously. This was the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, a transformation that would have been impossible without the mechanical advantage provided by wheels and their derivatives. The wheel also made its mark on scientific discovery. In 1666, Isaac Newton used a spinning wheel to demonstrate principles of motion and forces. His work with rotating objects helped establish the foundations of classical mechanics. The wheel had become not just a practical tool, but a conceptual framework for understanding the universe itself. What's truly remarkable is how this journey from simple pottery wheel to complex machinery happened through incremental innovations by countless unnamed inventors. Each person who added a tooth to a gear, adjusted the ratio between wheels, or found a new application for circular motion was building upon a 5,000-year legacy of human ingenuity. The wheel didn't just roll through history, it propelled us forward into technological modernity. Look around you for a moment. How many wheels can you spot? They're everywhere. In the cars passing by your window, the bicycle leaning against a fence, the office chair you might be sitting on right now. Even the tiny scroll wheel on your mouse is a descendant of that ancient Mesopotamian invention from 5,000 years ago. The wheel hasn't just survived through history. It has thrived, evolved, and multiplied beyond anything those early inventors could have imagined. Consider the modern automobile. Each one contains hundreds of wheels working in concert, from the obvious tires to the countless gears, pulleys, and bearings hidden beneath the hood. When you turn your steering wheel, you're participating in a technological tradition that stretches back to the first chariot drivers of antiquity. The difference is that your vehicle can travel at speeds approaching 100 miles per hour, a pace that would seem like sorcery to our ancestors. But the wheel's modern incarnations extend far beyond transportation. Think about the massive turbines in hydroelectric dams, some spanning more than 30 feet in diameter. These colossal wheels harness the power of flowing water, just as ancient water wheels did, but on a scale that can power entire cities. Or consider the delicate wheels in a mechanical watch, some smaller than a grain of rice, that tick with precision our ancestors could only dream of. Perhaps most impressive is how the wheel has taken to the skies. The jet engines propelling modern aircraft rely on multiple stages of spinning turbines. These wheels, rotating at speeds of up to 20,000 revolutions per minute, compress air and enable flight at nearly the speed of sound. The same principle that moved the first wooden carts now hurls humans across continents in hours rather than months. The wheel's influence extends even into the digital age. The first computers used punch cards, wheels rotating to read holes punched in paper. Hard drives store data on spinning magnetic disks. Even the circular motion of electrons in particle accelerators, the largest machines humans have ever built, owes a conceptual debt to the wheel. What's fascinating is how wheels have become so ubiquitous that they've vanished from our conscious awareness. We no longer marvel at their presence. They've become invisible infrastructure supporting our modern world. It's estimated that the average person in a developed country interacts with thousands of wheels every day without giving them a second thought. The wheel's legacy isn't just technological, it's philosophical. It represents humanity's ability to identify a fundamental principle in nature and adapt it to countless purposes. The wheel reminds us that simple ideas, refined over generations, can transform the world more profoundly than flashy innovations that capture headlines but fade from memory. As we look to the future, the wheel continues to evolve. Engineers are developing wheels that can change shape to navigate difficult terrain, airless tires that never go flat, and nanoscale wheels that can transport molecules within the human body. 5,000 years after its invention, the wheel still stands as perhaps humanity's most enduring and versatile creation, a perfect circle that continues to drive us forward into tomorrow. As we roll toward the end of our journey through the history of the wheel, we can see how this deceptively simple invention truly transformed human civilization. From its humble beginnings as a potter's tool in ancient Mesopotamia to its countless modern applications, the wheel stands as perhaps humanity's most enduring and versatile creation. This circular marvel didn't just make transportation easier, it fundamentally altered how humans interact with their world. The wheel compressed distances, accelerated trade, revolutionized warfare, transformed agriculture, and spawned countless technological innovations. It's no exaggeration to say that without the wheel, our modern world simply wouldn't exist. What's truly remarkable is how this 5,000-year-old technology continues to evolve and adapt. The wheels in your car, the The turbines powering your city, the gears in your watch, all descend from that first wooden disc spinning on a potter's table millennia ago. And yet, despite its age, we're still finding new applications and refinements for this ancient principle. The wheel's story also reminds us of an important truth about human innovation. Sometimes the simplest ideas have the most profound impacts. While we often celebrate complex modern technologies, it was this basic circular form that set humanity on a path toward technological mastery. The wheel teaches us that innovation isn't always about complexity. Sometimes it's about seeing the elegant solutions hidden in plain sight. So the next time you watch a car drive by, a bicycle roll down the street, or even just open a drawer sliding on wheels, take a moment to appreciate this extraordinary invention. Imagine for a moment how different your life would be without it. The wheel doesn't just move our vehicles, it has moved human history itself. If you've enjoyed this exploration of one of humanity's greatest inventions, please give this video a like, share it with friends who appreciate history, and subscribe to the Dawn of Humankind channel for more fascinating content about the ancient world. From the rise and fall of great empires to the revolutionary inventions that shaped civilization, we're exploring the stories that connect our past to our present. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. Until our next adventure into the ancient world, keep your wheels turning and your curiosity spinning.